My name is Jack. I live in a small town in the heart of the United States where life feels slow and warm, like a soft breeze in summer. The story I want to share is not just about me. It's about understanding things that words cannot say. It's about what it means when someone understands but cannot speak. In life, many people carry things inside their hearts that words cannot show. Some kids don't talk, but they listen. Some grown-ups feel deep emotions, but they stay silent. This is a story for everyone who has ever tried to speak, but the words just couldn't come out. If you felt that way, this is your story too. Now, let me tell you why understanding without words is so important in real life. Some people are born with things like autism, where they find it hard to say how they feel. Others might face a sickness that makes talking hard, like after a stroke. Maybe you've seen a friend sitting quietly, wanting to say something but feeling stuck. At moments like that, it's not the words that matter most, it's the way we listen and notice what someone is trying to say with their heart. I want you to listen carefully to what I am going to tell you next, because it might remind you of someone close to you. Maybe a friend, a family member, or even a stranger who gave you a look that stayed with you. This story shows that even if someone cannot speak with words, they still have something to say. And if you listen with kindness, you can understand more than you ever thought. It all began one summer afternoon. I was sitting on a park bench under a big oak tree, watching kids play on the swings. A little boy, maybe 5 or 6 years old, caught my attention. He had bright, curious eyes and a shy smile, but he didn't talk. The other kids were shouting, laughing, and running around, but this boy sat quietly with a toy car in his hand, rolling it over the ground. His name was Timmy. At first, I thought he just preferred to play alone, but the more I watched, the more I saw a story unfolding in front of me. Every time the kids called his name, Timmy would smile and wave his car at them. He wanted to be part of their game. He wanted to tell them, "I am here too," but no words came out. I smiled at him and waved. Timmy's face lit up. He didn't speak, but his eyes told me everything. "Thank you for noticing me." His mother sat nearby, reading a book. I walked over and said, "Your son is wonderful. He seems to understand everything." She smiled softly and replied, "Yes, he understands. He just can't speak. Timmy has a condition that makes it hard for him to talk, but if you pay attention, you'll see he has his own way of saying things." Her words stayed with me, like a gentle reminder that not all communication comes through words. I wondered how many other Timmy-like moments I had missed in lifetimes when someone was trying to tell me something, but I didn't listen closely enough. Over the next few weeks, I kept meeting Timmy and his mom at the park. Each time I learned more about how to listen without expecting words. Timmy's smiles, the way he showed his favorite toy, or how he patted the bench beside him when he wanted someone to sit, those were his ways of saying, "I like this," or "Come sit with me." And every time I responded, It was like unlocking a door between two worlds, his world and mine. It made me think deeply about how important it is to listen to what people mean, not just what they say. In everyday life, this matters more than we think. Imagine if every teacher could understand their students' unspoken feelings, or if every friend could notice when someone was sad even when they said, "I'm fine." Listening without words teaches us patience. It shows us how to care more. You don't need fancy words to tell someone you understand them. Sometimes just being there is enough. I want you to keep reading because this story doesn't end here. It's only the beginning. Timmy's story is a reminder that every person you meet has a voice, even if you cannot hear it in the usual way. They have stories waiting to be told, and it's up to us to listen with open hearts. As I spent more time with Timmy, something wonderful began to happen. He grew more comfortable around me, and we found ways to talk without speaking. If he was excited about something, he would pull my hand and point at it. If he was tired, he would lean his head on my shoulder. It was like learning a new language, one made up of trust and connection. And the best part, it felt just as real and deep as any conversation with words. We live in a world that moves fast. Everyone is busy talking, sharing opinions, or scrolling through their phones. But how often do we stop to really listen? Sometimes the most important things are said in the quietest ways. A person may be sitting next to you, hoping for someone to notice how they feel, even if they cannot say it out loud. If there's one thing I've learned from Timmy, it's that words are not the only way to connect. A smile, a nod, a touch on the shoulder, these small actions can speak louder than words. And when you learn to listen to those unspoken messages, you become part of something bigger. You become someone who understands. The story of Timmy is still unfolding. Every day I learn more about him, and in turn I learn more about myself. I realize that many people around us are just like Timmy. They may not have the words to say what they feel, but they want to be heard. All it takes is someone who is willing to listen, even when no words are spoken. So, let me ask you, how will you listen today? Maybe you have a friend who is going through something hard but hasn't told you. Or perhaps someone in your family just needs a little extra patience. Can you pay attention to their smiles, their silences, or the way they fidget with their hands? If you do, you might find that you understand more than you ever thought possible. And who knows? You might change someone's day just by being there, without saying a single word. This story doesn't end here. In fact, it's just getting started. There are more Timmy moments waiting to be discovered in everyday life, and more chances for us to understand without speaking. One afternoon, I sat with Timmy by the swings again. He had his toy car as usual, running it over the bench and along my arm like it was a road. I noticed something different about him that day. He kept looking up at the sky, his little eyes squinting against the sun. At first, I didn't understand what he wanted, but then he pointed first at the sky, then at me. He wanted me to see what he was seeing. There was a small plane flying overhead, its engine humming softly in the distance. I smiled and pointed too. "You like the plane?" I asked, even though I knew he wouldn't answer with words. Timmy nodded, and his face broke into a grin. In that moment, I understood that he wasn't just watching a plane. He was sharing something with me, inviting me into his world the best way he could. And it hit me this wasn't just about communication. It was about connection. He didn't need to talk for us to share something special. The simplest moments, I realized, can mean the most. We don't always need words to be part of each other's lives. A small nod, a shared look, or a little gesture can carry meaning. And when we pay attention to these small things, we see how big they really are. From that day, I started looking for more ways to understand people without waiting for words. I noticed things: how the neighbor smiled every time I brought in her mail without being asked, how my coworker tapped her pen when she was nervous but didn't say anything, and how my little niece would tug on my sleeve when she needed me to pay attention. Timmy taught me how to listen with more than my ears, and it changed the way I saw the world. Life feels richer when you notice these silent stories all around you. One day, Timmy's mother invited me over to their house for a small barbecue. "He talks about you in his own way," she said with a warm smile. "He points at your picture and gets excited every time we say your name. You've made a difference in his life." Hearing that made my heart feel full. I didn't do anything grand, I thought. All I did was notice him, be present, and respond when he needed me. But maybe that was all it took. Sometimes the biggest difference we can make in someone's life is to be there when they need someone, without expecting anything in return. During the barbecue, I watched Timmy play in the backyard. He wasn't alone this time. 2 other kids were there, and although Timmy still didn't speak, he showed them his toys and pointed out things in the garden. The kids followed his lead, laughing and playing along. They didn't need words either. They were just enjoying the moment together. That's when it struck me: kids seem to understand something that adults often forget. They don't worry about the right words or the perfect things to say. They just want to be there, to share and to play. Maybe that's what life is about: being present, paying attention, and enjoying the small moments, even when there are no words. Timmy's story is one that will stay with me forever, but it's not just about him. It's about everyone: people who feel misunderstood, people who try to fit in, and people who wish someone would just notice them. It's about understanding that not everyone needs to talk to say something meaningful. There's a boy like Timmy in every neighborhood. There's a person in every family or workplace who understands more than they can say. And all it takes to connect with them is a little patience, a little kindness, and the willingness to listen with more than your ears. The beauty of life isn't always found in the big moments or fancy words. It's in the quiet smiles, the small gestures, and the shared looks. It's in the moments when someone says, "I understand," without needing to say anything at all. So, what will you notice today? Will you pause to see the small things that people around you are trying to say? Will you give someone your attention, even when there are no words? This story doesn't end here. In fact, it's just beginning. There are more Timmy-like moments out there waiting to be found. All it takes is for someone like you to notice. Will you keep going with me? Let's keep listening. Let's find those quiet stories and learn from them. Who knows? Maybe the next time you sit on a park bench or pass by someone silently fidgeting with their hands, you'll hear something beautiful. Something that only you were meant to understand.